when Aaliyah died, for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say that on TV? Sue me, I ain't got nothing. I was with him on the negotiation.
So many rumors have been floating around for years about Aaliyah's tragic death. People still talk about the claim that she was given a sedative and carried onto that plane while unconscious. Others question whether her mother, Diane, turned a blind eye. And then there's the massive $90 million settlement that her uncle Barry Hankerson reportedly received after her passing. When you line all that up, it sounds wild. But here's the real question people keep asking. Did Aaliyah's family truly fail her, or is that just speculation that grew over time? It's known that Aaliyah was afraid of flying, and she usually had family members with her when she traveled. That was her comfort zone. Yet on the day of the crash, she wasn't surrounded by the same protection. That detail alone keeps people talking. Some even wonder if her mother sensed something was off about that flight and decided not to go. There's no confirmed proof of that, but the internet has been digging deep ever since Nicki Minaj publicly accused Jay-Z of inappropriate involvement with Aaliyah when she was very young. After that allegation, online investigators started connecting old dots and raising new questions. Now Diane's name keeps popping up in conversations, and the theories are intense. To understand the bigger picture, you have to look at Diane's background. She was born January 11th, 1951 in New York, and she is the younger sister of music executive Barry Hankerson. Diane married Michael Houghton, and together they had two children, Rashad, born August 6, 1977, and Aaliyah, born January 16, 1979. In the early years, Diane was a stay-at-home mom who focused heavily on raising her kids. She handled the household while Michael worked in the warehouse business. By all public accounts, she was hands-on and protective. Aaliyah's love for music started right at home. She would listen to her mother sing around the house while records played in the background. When Diane realized her daughter could actually carry a tune, especially after Aaliyah performed in a school production of Annie, she saw potential. That's when things shifted. Diane stepped up and began guiding Aaliyah's path into entertainment. And remember, Diane had industry connections. Her brother, Barry Hankerson, was married to Gladys Knight at the time. That connection opened doors fast. Aaliyah traveled with Gladys, watched her perform, and even got chances to perform herself. She was soaking up knowledge at a young age. Eventually, at just 12 years old, Aaliyah was signed to her uncle's label, Blackground Records. That's when her professional career officially launched. But this is where everything starts to look complicated. Aaliyah was a young teenager entering an industry filled with powerful, much older executives and producers. One of the most talked about names connected to her early career is R. Kelly. After signing to Blackground, Aaliyah began working closely with him. He became the lead writer and producer for her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Professionally, it looked like mentorship.
A lot of smack. I'm like, age ain't nothing but a number, girl. I'm like, what you trying to say? So immediately I heard the song, and I said, I called her back 15 minutes later, told her, check this out. So we cut the track right then and there.
And for the record, you are how old? That's a secret. Women doesn't disclose her age.
Behind the scenes, though, serious concerns were later raised. Reports surfaced that their relationship crossed boundaries that should never have been crossed, especially considering her age at the time. It was later revealed that documents were allegedly falsified in order to create a marriage certificate. There were also reports suggesting she may have been expecting, though those claims remain part of ongoing public discussion and speculation. According to multiple accounts, the marriage paperwork was quickly annulled in February 1995. The 2019 Lifetime documentary Surviving R. Kelly brought even more attention to the situation. The documentary alleged that Aaliyah's parents were aware of the marriage and reassured R. Kelly they would not pursue charges. It also claimed that, as part of a reported agreement, rights to some of R. Kelly's early albums were transferred to Aaliyah's family. These allegations were strongly denied by her family, but the documentary reignited intense debate. An NDA was reportedly signed, preventing public discussion about what truly happened. After that, Aaliyah rarely spoke on the situation. In interviews, she downplayed the relationship and avoided details. Some former background dancers and singers claimed they witnessed inappropriate behavior, but Diane publicly defended her daughter and denied those accounts. She insisted that certain individuals were lying and did not truly know Aaliyah. Allegedly, Diane even encouraged her daughter to deny any inappropriate relationship during interviews, though that claim remains disputed. Looking back, people question how so many adults in powerful positions allowed such a situation to unfold. At the time, industry whispers about R. Kelly were already circulating. Yet Aaliyah, still a teenager, was working closely with him. Critics argue that the adults around her should have stepped in sooner. Supporters of the family argue they were navigating a powerful industry machine and trying to protect her career at the same time. All of this creates a complicated picture. Was it misjudgment? Was it pressure from powerful industry figures? Or were there deeper dynamics at play behind closed doors? Those questions still linger today, and that's why this story refuses to fade away. When you really sit back and think about it, a lot of people still feel uneasy about the adults Aaliyah was surrounded by. She was a young star, yet constantly around powerful, much older men in the industry. Names like R. Kelly, Diddy, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and even Timbaland were all part of that circle. These were grown executives and artists with major influence. Over time, some of them even made public comments that raised eyebrows, and fans still question why stronger boundaries were not enforced back then. For example, in a 2011 episode of E! True Hollywood Story, Timbaland openly admitted he felt attracted to Aaliyah when they first met.
I'm really busy with the career and the fact that I'm getting ready to go back to school, so I'll just see how it works in.
3 years ago, there was this terrible rumor out. What is the deal with you and R. Kelly? Are you all married or not?
No, I'm not married. Robert's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. He's a great producer, great artist who I do admire, and there's nothing there.
The timeline is what makes people pause. They connected while working on her sophomore album, 1 in a Million, which she began recording at just 16 years old, while he was 23. Even though he has said nothing inappropriate happened, the age difference alone sparked debate. Many critics argue that adults in professional spaces should have been more mindful and protective, especially when working with someone so young. Then there are the stories about high-profile industry parties. Aaliyah was photographed at events hosted by Diddy, including a well-known 4th of July party on July 2nd, 2000. There are images of them appearing close at gatherings, and they were also photographed together at events like the 2001 MTV Movie Awards. In the entertainment world, celebrities often attend the same functions, but when you look back at the photos, some fans now analyze every detail with fresh suspicion. People go down that rabbit hole and start connecting dots. Through it all, Aaliyah seemed constantly surrounded by industry power players. Then suddenly, everything changed with the tragic plane crash that took her life. And for many, the circumstances have never fully sat right. One major issue was the plane's weight. Reports confirmed that the small aircraft exceeded its maximum weight limit by several hundred pounds. That alone would have made takeoff risky and control difficult once airborne. On top of that, investigations later revealed serious concerns about the pilot. It was reported that he had falsified qualifications and had substances in his system at the time of the crash. That detail alone shocked people. How does something like that slip through the cracks on a professional production trip? Author Kathy Ian Doley, in her book Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah, shared an account from a man named Kingsley Russell, whose family operated transportation services in the Abaco Islands. According to his statement, his stepmother drove Aaliyah's team to the airport for their return flight. He claimed that when Aaliyah saw the small plane, she was uncomfortable and did not want to board. Allegedly, she expressed concerns about the aircraft being overloaded and even returned to the cab. The account continues that someone from her team went back to speak with her. It has been claimed that she was given something to help her relax and eventually fell asleep before being carried onto the plane. That particular allegation has never been officially confirmed, but it has fueled years of speculation. Critics ask, if she truly did not want to board, why wasn't that decision respected? That question still echoes loudly. Now, with Nicki Minaj and others publicly revisiting old industry controversies, some people believe it is time for deeper accountability. Online discussions often circle back to Aaliyah's family, especially her mother, questioning what they knew and when they knew it. These are serious claims, and it's important to separate verified facts from online theory. Still, the conversations continue because so many pieces feel unresolved. In an interview with Dr. Oz, Aaliyah's uncle Barry Hankerson stated that he was unaware of the inappropriate relationship between R. Kelly and Aaliyah at the time, but he suggested that Diane, Aaliyah's mother, did know. That statement alone caused confusion and raised more questions.
Aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. Yes, I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought.
Some people find it difficult to believe that key executives would not have been aware of major events involving their own artist. There's also the reported $90 million settlement connected to Aaliyah's death. Public records show financial agreements were made, though the exact details remain complex. Rumors have circulated that Aaliyah was considering leaving Blackground Records after fulfilling her contract. Additionally, reports claim that a liability agreement was signed days before the crash, stating that the label would not be held responsible if anything went wrong. Those details have kept conspiracy theories alive for years. At the center of it all is a painful truth. Aaliyah was a talented young woman whose life ended far too soon. Whether it was industry negligence, poor decisions, or tragic mismanagement, the unanswered questions continue to weigh heavily on fans who still want clarity and accountability. What still has people scratching their heads is that liability agreement signed just 5 days before her passing. That timing feels eerie to many fans. They question why paperwork protecting the label was handled right before such a tragic event. There is no public proof that anyone knew something bad would happen, but the coincidence has kept suspicions alive for years. At the end of the day, people simply want clear answers and transparency. Nicki Minaj has definitely turned up the heat lately. She shared old photos of Jay-Z posing with Aaliyah and Beyoncé from the mid-90s and placed their ages over the images, making people look twice. Then she reposted another photo of Jay-Z and Aaliyah and accused him of inappropriate behavior when Aaliyah was underage. In one tweet, she wrote, "Imagine if a 30-year-old rapper was out here with a 16-year-old in this day and age and how y'all would have his head on a platter. The guy was hugging and humping on them in broad daylight." That statement alone sent social media into chaos. She even hinted that deeper issues happen behind the scenes in Hollywood, suggesting that the industry protects powerful figures. Those comments pushed more people to revisit Aaliyah's story and re-examine everyone around her at the time. Now, some online critics are questioning whether Diane made decisions based on business pressure rather than protection. That's a heavy accusation, and there's no confirmed evidence proving that claim, but the conversations are louder than ever. It also raises questions about how Rashad, Aaliyah's brother, is handling all of this renewed attention. Having your sister's name constantly pulled into controversy can't be easy. No matter where people stand, the situation remains heartbreaking, and the demand for real clarity just keeps growing. At the end of the day, this story is bigger than rumors, bigger than tweets, and bigger than industry gossip. Aaliyah was a real person, a young woman with talent, dreams, and a future that looked unstoppable. That's what makes all of this hit so hard. When someone so gifted leaves this world under tragic circumstances, people are always going to search for meaning. They are always going to ask who failed her and why. The music industry in the 90s was a different beast. Power was concentrated in the hands of a few executives, and young artists often had little control over their careers. Contracts were tight, secrets were common, and silence was sometimes part of the business. That doesn't automatically mean there was a grand plan or dark setup, but it does show how easy it was for things to happen behind closed doors. And when the person at the center is young, that responsibility should have been even stronger. Social media has changed everything. Back then, stories could be buried. Today, nothing stays hidden for long. Every old photo gets reposted. Every interview gets clipped. Every timeline gets dissected. Nicki Minaj speaking out only added more pressure because once a major celebrity raises questions, millions of fans start digging too. That kind of spotlight can shake up old narratives fast. Still, it's important to separate confirmed facts from online theories. The crash investigation concluded that the plane was overloaded and the pilot was not properly certified. Those are documented findings. The rest, the motives, the timing of contracts, the alleged behind-the-scenes conversations, those remain debated. And debate is not the same as proof. People deserve fairness, even when emotions run high. What cannot be debated is Aaliyah's impact. She changed R&B. She brought a smooth, effortless vibe that artists still copy today. The baggy pants, the dark shades, the quiet confidence. That was her lane. She didn't have to be loud to be powerful. Her voice was soft but strong, and her presence commanded attention without trying too hard. That kind of star power is rare. It's also worth remembering that families are complex. Decisions made in the spotlight are rarely simple. There can be pressure from labels, financial stress, legal advice, and fear of public scandal all mixed together. That doesn't excuse poor judgment if it happened, but it reminds us that life is rarely black and white. Real life is messy, especially when fame and money are involved. As for accountability, that conversation isn't going away anytime soon. Fans want transparency. They want honesty. They want to know that if mistakes were made, lessons were learned. That's not about attacking anyone. It's about protecting the next young artist who steps into the machine. The industry has evolved, but the need for safeguards is still real. In the middle of all the noise, one truth remains clear. Aaliyah deserved a long life. She deserved to grow older, drop more albums, maybe start a family, maybe build an empire of her own. Instead, her story froze at 22. That's why people are still emotional about it, decades later. It feels unfinished. And maybe that's the real reason this conversation refuses to die. Not because people love drama, but because they loved her. They loved what she represented. Until every question feels answered, the curiosity will stay alive. Her legacy is solid, her influence is undeniable, and her name will always carry weight. No matter what theories swirl around her story, Aaliyah's light still shines bright.